You use it literally every single day. But what is the cloud really? I mean, it's obviously not up in the sky, so where is it? Well, we're going to break it all down. Let's get into it.
Okay, just think about your day so far. I bet you've streamed some music, scrolled through a ton of social media posts, maybe watched a few videos like this one. I mean, that's easily 4 gigabytes of data right there. So where did all that stuff come from? More importantly, where is it all stored?
Well, here's a hint. It is definitely not on your phone. Can you imagine you'd run out of space before lunch? The real answer, of course, is the cloud. And the cloud is just a kind of fancy way of saying it's all stored on someone else's computer. A much, much more powerful computer.
All right, so let's actually break that down. What are we really talking about when we say the cloud? The two big phrases to remember here are on-demand and pay-as-you-go. And believe me, this was an absolute game changer. See, before the cloud, if you wanted to, say, start a website, you had to physically go out and buy a server. You had to guess how much power you'd need, cross your fingers, and just hope you got it right. But now you can just rent the exact amount of computing power you need and you can change it in an instant. And to really get why this was such a massive shift, we got to look at what it replaced. So what was life actually like for businesses before the cloud came along?
So over on the left, you've got the old way, right? Let's say you need more power for a big Black Friday sale. Well, that means a slow, expensive, and honestly painful process of buying and setting up brand new hardware in some server room. But over on the right, with the cloud, scaling up is literally as simple as clicking a button. And this isn't just about convenience, you guys. It's about agility. It's about freeing up brilliant people to focus on creating cool stuff, not just, maintaining a closet full of blinking lights.
Okay, but here's the thing. The cloud isn't just one single thing. It's not one size fits all. I think the best way to think about it is like transportation. You need to get from point A to point B, right? But you've got a few different ways to get there, and it all depends on your budget and what exactly you're carrying.
So first up, you've got the public cloud. And this is basically like taking the city bus. It's cheap, it's super efficient, and hey, it gets you where you need to go. You're sharing the ride with a whole bunch of other people, and that's exactly what makes it so cost-effective. The engines behind massive services like Netflix and Spotify, they're all built on this powerful, shared model.
Then you've got the private cloud. Now this is like having your own car. You're the one in control, you decide who gets in, you've got the keys, and you are not sharing it with anyone. This is the go-to for organizations that need like maximum security and total control over their data. Think banks or government agencies.
And finally, there's the hybrid cloud. This is kind of like using a rideshare service. You really do get the best of both worlds here. You might use that cheap, cost-effective bus for your everyday, less sensitive stuff. But when you need to move something really valuable and private, you just call for your private car. It is all about having the flexibility to choose the right tool for the right job.
Okay, so we've picked our ride. Now the next question is, how much of the driving do we actually want to do ourselves? See, the cloud offers these different service models, which is really just a way of asking how much of the work and responsibility you want to hand over to the provider.
Let's start with our baseline again, the old school do-it-yourself approach. With this setup, you are responsible for absolutely everything. The physical servers, the software, the security, those lovely 3 a.m. reboots. Yep, it is all on you.
So our first cloud option is called Infrastructure as a Service, or IaaS. Think of this like leasing the basic frame of a car. The provider gives you all the foundational stuff, the engine, the storage, the networking. The real magic here is a word called virtualization, which just means the provider can take one giant physical server and digitally chop it up into lots of smaller private servers for all their different customers. So you get the raw parts, but you're still in charge of putting everything else on top of it.
Next up, we've got Platform as a Service, or PaaS. Now this is more like a long-term car rental where all the maintenance is totally included. The provider handles the engine and the operating system, so all a developer has to do is get in and start building their amazing app. They don't have to worry about any of the underlying mechanics, they can just focus on the driving.
And finally, we get to the one we all use every single day, Software as a Service, or SaaS. This is basically a self-driving taxi. You don't own it, you don't manage it, you don't do anything. You just tell it where you want to go. We're talking about things like Google Docs, Dropbox, Salesforce. The provider handles literally everything behind the scenes. You just sign in and start using it. Simple as that.
Okay, I know, that was a lot of acronyms. IaaS, PaaS, SaaS. So let's zoom out for a second. We've talked about what the cloud is and how it's all structured. But the big question is, why? Why did it completely take over the world? Why does any of this matter so much?
It all really comes down to this. The cloud democratized computing power. It completely lowered the barrier to entry. Suddenly, a couple of people working in a garage could build something that could actually compete with the giants because it saved them a ton of money and let them scale up instantly. And for the rest of us, it untethered our digital lives from any one single device. It gave us access to our entire world from pretty much anywhere.
And what's wild is that this entire global brain, it's basically run by just a handful of massive companies. We're talking about Amazon, Microsoft, and Google. They are, for all intents and purposes, the landlords of the internet, renting out the digital space that powers nearly every single app and website you use today.
So, as we hand over more and more of our lives to these remote servers, it really is worth asking, is there a line? I mean, we trust the cloud with our memories, our private conversations, our work, our finances. So I'll leave you with this question. What's the one thing you would never, ever upload? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining me.